The 11th of December, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
All right. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Good morning. Spread and Hanukkah.
Good morning. Good morning, Rabbi Levitt. Good morning, people.
Oh, good morning, Roy.
Yeah, I lied to you.
Why?
I said I
What?
sent you an email. Did you get my email?
Oh, no, I didn't look at my email.
Because I said I wouldn't be attending classes today, but I'm able to attend this one.
Oh, good. Baruch Hashem.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Ha, ha, ha. I know how to put it out, too.
Okay, so
Mhm.
yeah, that's something you can go back on your word. If you say you're not going to show up and you do show up, that's okay.
All right.
Shataf Nahar. Okay, so we're up to the new section. It's a new section over here. Shataf Nahar. Shataf Nahar Chamoro.
It's page 116A2, right-hand column, second to the last paragraph. The Gemara cites a Mishnah.
Oh, yeah, this is what we did before. So we'll do this again. Somebody asked a question. Somebody asked the Gemara's question, so we looked up what the Gemara answers to the question.
Mhm.
Okay, so first we got to figure out what the question is, and we'll, without further ado, we'll go to Alan to start off the reading. Alan, we can't hear you. Alan, are you there?
I think he's talking, but I can't hear him at all.
Okay, so what should we do here? Alan, we can't hear you.
Can you hear us, Alan? Wave your hand if you can hear us. Alan, wave your hand if you can hear us. Can you hear us? Wave your hand.
Yeah, he can hear us.
You can hear us. We can't hear you.
Okay.
Are you plugged in? He's gone. He's back.
Something's going on. Now we're doing Bava Kama. You have Bava Kama? Now we can't hear. Okay. So there's no red mic, but we can't hear.
Something's wrong with his microphone.
The red mic is if he stops it and mutes himself, but if he's not muting himself, then And it's just his mic is not picking up.
Maybe the sound is off. He's got to push the loudspeaker plus button. Oh no. Okay. So we're gonna go to Roy to start.
Okay. So the Gemora cites the Mishnah's next clause. Shatef Nahar Hamara V'Chamor V'Haviru Shelo Yipeh Mane, etc. So the river swept away his donkey and the donkey of his fellow, and his donkey was worth a manna, etc.
And how much is the friend's donkey worth?
What was this? The river swept away his donkey and the donkey of his fellow. His donkey was worth a manna. His fellow's donkey, I don't know. Probably two.
Yeah.
All right. The underlying principles in this case, says the Art Scroll, are the same as in the preceding case concerning one who poured out his wine to save the honey of his fellow. The Gemara must therefore explain. Utzarikha, and it was necessary for the Mishnah to teach both. Turning over the page. On 116A3. Top of 116A3. So the Mishnah explains two cases. Day Eshmainon Kamaya Sot. For if the Mishnah had informed us only of the first case, in which one poured out his wine to save his honey, we would have assumed that Acham who the be Perish Yahiv Lay Damei Kulo. It is only in that case that the law mandates that if he stipulated full reimbursement for his loss, the owner of the honey must give him the value of all the lost wine. Mishum Davidain Ka Pasod, because in that case he destroyed his wine with his own hands. Aval haba, no. Chacha, the mamela, but here in the case of the donkeys, where the drowning of the donkey happened by itself, Neima ein lo ayla sacharo. Let us say that he receives only his fee, and he's not reimbursed for the loss of his donkey, says the Art Scroll. The Mishnah must therefore teach that he receives compensation for his donkey. And if the Mishnah had informed us only of the second case, in which one abandoned his donkey to save the donkey of his fellow, we would have assumed that divsa soma ein lo elo sacharo. It is only in this case but the law mandates that if he did not specify that he paid for that he be paid for his donkey, he receives only his fee. Mashum de Mela, because and the article says the drowning of his donkey happened by itself.
Mhm.
Right. Do I go on, or you want the case?
Yeah, go on to where it says sricha.
Right. Aval Hasam Davidos Dayim, but there, in the case of the wine and the honey, where the wine was destroyed with his own hands, Amar Afilu Bistoma Yehiu Yehav Lay Dame Ku.
Mhm.
Well, I would say that even where he did not specify that it be paid for his wine, the owner of the honey must still give him the wine of all the lost, give him the value of all the lost wine. Soricha, it is therefore necessary to teach both rulings.
Okay, so that's the Gemara's question. Why do we need the Mishnah to tell us both of these cases when we see that on the face of it the cases are pretty similar and similar enough, and the ruling is the same in both cases. Each case has two cases within it. One case where the person goes to save the honey and the donkey without saying anything, and in that case, the Mishnah rules in both of those cases that he doesn't get reimbursed for the loss of his wine or the loss of his donkey. He just gets paid back his wages for engaging in the saving of the stuff of the other person. But when he does say, I'm going to go and save your honey, I'm going to go and save your donkey, but you have to pay me for my for my wine that I'm losing, or for my donkey that I'm losing. In those cases too, in both of those cases too, the Mishnah says the very same din, that he has to give it to him. He's got to reimburse him for that. So the Gemara wants to know, why do we need two of the same case with the same din? So the Gemara is going to say, yes, we do need both cases, because you wouldn't have thought that the dinning would be exactly the same had we not written both dinning. And first, the Gemara is going to discuss the case of the first case, and then it's going to discuss the second case. Okay. So let's see what we have over here. Do we have any Rashi over here? I don't see it. No, we don't really have any Rashi, do we? Afsadastan Kavare Bazuzah was yesterday's Gemara. And after that it says Devorim Koposid. The Yadayim Koposid. Oh, that's shy to our Gemara here. The Yadayim Koposid.
The Yadayim concert with its hands, it's a loss. Shofechet et yeno b'yadayim bishvilo. He spilled out his wine with his hands for him.
Right. So Right. So what is this relevant over here in the Gemara? The Gemara is saying that we need sricha. We need to hear the case of the donkey. Because if we had only heard the Hashmi'in Kamais, says the Gemara, and the honey, we would have and seen what the din is. That when he makes a stipulation with him, then the owner of the honey has to honor the stipulation and reimburse him for his loss of the wine. If we had only written that case and we have not written in the Mishnah the second case with the donkeys, we would have said Hasamhu. We would have said over there in the first case with the honey and the wine. Only in that case we would have said that the din is that he's got to give him the value of the wine. The kiperish yohiv le de me kule. That when he does stipulate with him openly and explicitly, then he's got to, the other guy's got to honor the what he said. Why over there only? Mishum de could be a dime kaposid, because the saber had to take the wine that was in his barrel, and there's nothing happening to the wine, and actively pour out the wine onto the ground in order to make room for the honey, to save the honey. But if he's not going to do that, so then there's what's going to happen to the wine? It's going to stay in the barrel. There's no doubt that he would retain the wine. No doubt whatsoever. It's only because he went ahead with his own hands and poured it out. That's why he's got no wine. So therefore, that stipulation, such a stipulation like that, and okay, so we would have thought in that case where he has to actively pour out the wine himself and cause the loss, which otherwise would not have been caused to the wine. Like that, then the owner of the honey's got to honor the stipulation. When the owner of the wine told him, "You got to pay me for the you have to give me the wine that I'm pouring out now because I'm going to save your honey." But what would we have said in the case of the donkey? Even though the owner of the donkey that's only worth a mana is saying to him, now look, I'm going to go ahead and save your donkey, and I'm going to leave my donkey. And the other guy's donkey is worth matayim. It's worth twice as much. So he says, look, I'm going to go and save your donkey, but listen, you gotta reimburse me for my donkey, because I'm not going to save my donkey. Right, so you got to reimburse me with a mana for going ahead and saving your 200 donkey. So we would have thought that in that case, the guy would be able to say, "I'm not going to give you a mana for your donkey." No, why not? Because the Gemara says of al hacha, in that case with the donkey, the memela nema ein lo elascharo. In that case of the donkey, the case of the donkey is called memela. It happened by itself. What happened by itself? The donkey drowned by itself. He didn't need the saber to do anything in order to have the donkey drown. The donkey was drowning, and the only thing they could have saved him was if the guy is going to go ahead and save him, but by itself, the donkey's gonna drown. So that case is not similar to the case of the wine. The case of the wine, what's going to happen to the wine if the guy doesn't pour out the wine? Something going to happen to it? Nothing. He's got to pick it up and pour it on the ground in order to cause a loss to that wine. So that guy says, listen, I'm picking up this bottle of wine and throwing it on the ground, and you got to pay me for that. Because otherwise that wouldn't have happened to my wine. Masha'en came in the case of the donkey. The guy says, you got to give me the price of my donkey. Well, what do you mean? The donkey's drowning. You're not doing anything to cause your donkey to drown. The donkey's drowning, mamela. And so you want to go and save my donkey? That's very nice, but I don't have to pay you for the fact that your donkey is drowning. And that's even in the case. What we're saying is that the guy stipulated with him. The saver stipulated with him, says, you got to pay for my donkey. You got to reimburse me for the donkey because I'm going to save your donkey and I'm not going to save mine. So even in that case, we could have thought that in that case, it's not similar to the case of the wine. And so therefore, the Gemora is saying that we need the Mishnah to write the case of the donkey so that we hear that the din of the donkey is the same as the din of the wine. Because we might have thought that it's not exactly the same case, and the other donkey owner would not be required, according to the halacha at any rate. According to Yashris, of course, he's obligated. He gave his word. That's an interesting part of this Gemara over here. He obviously must have given his word. Otherwise, the guy wasn't going to go and do it, right? But it's like he could say, "Mashatani b'cha." I was just kidding. Yeah, you were just kidding. I wasn't just kidding. I wanted my money. Says the saver of the donkey. But the Mishnah says that no, he's not entitled to get reimbursed for his donkey. Or I'm sorry. The Mishnah is saying he is entitled to get reimbursed. But the point of the Gemara is that we might have thought that he wouldn't be required to be reimbursed. And that's why the Mishnah has to tell us this second case with the donkey. Don't think that it's exactly the same case as the case with the honey and the wine. It's not exactly the same. It's not exactly the same situation. And we might have thought that the din was otherwise. And therefore, the Gemara is saying that the Mishnah needs to tell us this second din of the two donkeys. Okay, now that's the first half of this case. But now, of course, the Gemara is going to have to go on the other end and say, well, it's also if it would also have been necessary to state the first case, and it wouldn't have been sufficient to only state the second case, because you might have thought to say, well, if the case of the donkey is a bigger chiddush, because I would have thought to say, oh, the donkey is being lost in the water memela, and so that's if in that case he's got to pay. Certainly he's going to have to be paying him in the case of where he spills out. If so then the question would be, well, let's just say the case of the seifa with the donkeys, and then we won't need to say the case of the honey and the wine and the reisha. On that, the Gemara says, no, if we would only have the case of the two donkeys, and we would not have had the other case with the honey and the wine, what might we have thought? We might have come to a different conclusion than what the Mishnah tells us. How so? Says the Gemara, and if we had only been taught the case of the donkeys, that's the seifa case. So we would have said like this: Hachahu demistama ein lo elaskaro. We would have said like this: it was a case of stama. He didn't say anything. There was no words that was said. There was no stipulation that was made. So in that case, we would have said, Dafka in the case of the donkeys, ein lo elaskaro. He's only going to get his wages. He's not going to get reimbursed for the fact that he didn't try to save his donkey, and he only tried to save his friend's donkey. Why? Mishum de memela. for the very same reason, because in any case, the Nahar is drowning his donkey. It's not anything that he had anything to do with. That was going to happen, Mamela. It was going to happen on its own. So therefore, unless he makes a stipulation, so then he's not going to get reimbursed for the donkey. Aval, but we might have thought to say otherwise in the case of the honey and the wine. Aval Hassam to be a daim, in that case where he went ahead and actively poured out the wine, which otherwise would not have gone to waste, but he had to pour it out in order to make room to catch the other person's honey. So in that case, that he had to do that the loss was caused to his wine be a daim, that he had to actively do it. We might have thought to say afilu b'stama, even in a case where he did not stipulate with the owner of the honey that you got to pay me, for the wine that I'm going to have to pour out on the ground over here in order to make room for your honey, right? Even if he would not have said that, and he just would have gone ahead and done that, since it's obvious that that's what would needed to be done in order to get the honey, and otherwise there's nothing that's going to be lost to the owner of the wine. We might have thought to say Yohiv le de me kule. He would have to give the owner of the honey would have to give de me kule. He'd have to give him the full price of the lost wine that the owner of the wine poured out on the ground. And so there not be so. In that case also, if he doesn't stipulate with him, he's not going to get reimbursed for the wine. He's only going to get his schar, his wages for his work in saving the honey. And therefore, sricha. Very nice.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Hey, we can hear you.
Okay.
Make sure you set up like that next time. Rabbi, are we to assume that should there be other types of situations like this that there's compensation?
Well, like give an example. What case would you want to?
I'm trying to think of one. I don't know, but if someone went and did it, saved the wine without the owner being there. Save the honey without the owner being there.
If the owner of the honey is not there?
Yeah.
So if the owner of the honey is not there, so then who's the owner of the wine talking to when he says you got to pay me for my wine when I throw it out on the ground? Who's agreeing to that?
He's not. But when he sees the owner, he says, "I would like this. I'd like you to pay for me, pay me." But no, all right.
Okay, so that's what I said. That it would seem to me that the yashrus of the situation would be that certainly the owner of the honey should reimburse the owner of the wine for the fact that he saved his honey he's only capable of doing so because he poured out his wine. And since the wine cost, is the value of the wine is much in dollars and cents, would be worth it for the owner of the honey to yes, even if he pays the guy for his wine, in addition to the wages of the work, he still is going to be ahead of the game, as opposed to if the guy didn't do anything at all and he lost the honey. That's what I would assume. And if so, then the yashrus of the situation would be that he should have to pay him. But what the Mishnah is saying over here is that that's right. That's yashrus. That's not the din. The din is that he doesn't have to pay him, unless he stipulates with him ahead of time and says, I'm going to pour out my wine, and you gotta reimburse me for that. I'm going to go save your donkey, and you got to reimburse me for my. Unless he says that, he's not going to get reimbursed for his loss.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, all the best, everybody.
All right. Yes.
Freilich and Hanukkah.
Hanukkah.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Have a good
Bye, Roy.